Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As Aussie Man likes to say, here's me face. You know, I figure with a new year and a new subscriber goal of 1,000 that I really want to get, I figured I'd change it up a little bit. And one thing I noticed is channels that show the creator's face do better and get more subscribers. And so here we go. Broken nose and all, this is what you get. So anyway, on the 1st of February, I'm going to have a video that is going to be played on Mr. Sensible's channel, and I'll try to mirror it on mine. I don't know how that works, but I'll figure it out. But he's on vacation, or at least taking a little bit of a break from creating content every day. And he asked content creators to make videos that he could put on his channel to fill the space. So I obliged and gave old Nathan Thompson a virtual ass kicking. So you should all go check that out. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, I definitely recommend it. He's English, he's hilarious. I like him a lot. Maybe you will too. You should all go check him out. So with all that out of the way, today's video is going to be about Hans Wormhat, or Wormhand, whatever it is. And he's going to tell us about the firmament. And I need to say up front, he references the Bible. He reads from it at one point. And so I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to try not to bash, but I make no guarantees. I used to be Christian for a year or two, really Christian, and I'm not anymore. And so if you don't like people talking about your faith, or don't like critical analysis of your faith, I would definitely skip this one. So put on the trusty headphones here so I can follow along, and we're going to get into it. So take it away, Hans.
Hans Wormhat. This is going to be a video about the firmament. And first, this really has more to do with my last video. I should have thought of it, but I didn't. I talked about how the sun actually spins in the sky like a wheel, and the moon does it too.
That's called rotation.
Just like there's only one face of the moon, same thing for the sun. It doesn't rotate how NASA wants you to think. It spins like a wheel. And here's this song, Wheel in the Sky. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And in this video, I want to talk about the firmament, why the firmament is real, and why I think that it has certain optical properties and what those properties are. I think if anyone played Mario, do you remember this level? The sun follows you. The moon follows you. You can go on a long cross-country trip, driving all the way down the coast or all the way across country. The sun follows you, the moon follows you. It's very close. It's because it's an optical property of the firmament, and it's user dependent. It's dependent on whoever the observer is. So if you move, they're going to follow you. And it's not that far away. The image, so you see an image that's projected. It's just a user dependent. I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't know exactly what's happening, but I believe that everybody sees an image of the sun, and it just depends on where you are on Earth to what it's going to look like, how high in the sky, or that kind of thing.
Imagine being so paranoid that you think the sun and the moon are following you. And it's a projection? Where's the projector? How big is the projector? Who made the projector? What powers it? Who changes the light bulbs when the light bulbs go out? A lot of questions here, man, that thinking a projector is what makes the sky look the way it is leads to. You don't have answers to any of them because you haven't really thought this out. This is just loony. You're loony. The meme is funny though. What's Texas like? Yeah, I went to basic training between June and August. I can attest to the sun trying to kill you. and he said it depends on where you are on Earth as to what it looks like. Yeah, if you're on the dark side of Earth, you don't get to see the sun. You see the moon sometimes. If you're on the bright side, that's where the sun is, because the Earth spins.
And so you can fly in an airplane. The sun follows you. The angle doesn't change all over the place wildly, and that's because it's optical.
The angle doesn't change because you're very far away from it. One analogy I like to use is when you're driving down the highway, notice the trees. Trees that are closer to you move faster. Trees that are farther away from those move slower. Trees that are way far away move very, very slowly. And the angle doesn't seem to change.
Rainbows. It's curved like a dome for a reason. We have a covering over us. And another thing about rainbows, well, we'll get to it in a second, but just look at the shapes of these objects. Rainbows are curved. We have these things called sundogs, which are circular. It's just all the signs point to we have something over the top of us, and it's probably curved like a dome.
You literally have no idea what you're talking about. You did mention personal projections earlier, and with a rainbow, that's what that is. The eye, the water drop, and the sun make a cone going away from you. That's a personal projection. Not all rainbows are the same for everybody, but they're curved because a cone is round.
And so this actually goes into me believing that all this stuff is optical. We're not actually looking at the moon. The moon is inside of the firmament, but this looks like it's inside of the atmosphere. This is something that people say all the time. They're like, the moon is inside the atmosphere. Well, that doesn't actually mean that the giant moon object is flying through our atmosphere. It just means that what we see as the moon, the image that we see of the moon, is inside the atmosphere. If you have a pair of binoculars, you can zoom in on the moon and you can easily zoom past it. So when you're focusing your binoculars, it's really not that far away to zoom in on the moon. Sometimes there's objects that appear farther away, and I think it's optical.
I have no idea what he's talking about. He is all over the place. The moon is optical? Yeah, you can see it. You can zoom past it. Yeah, there's stuff farther out there than the moon. The moon is in our atmosphere, technically, because particles from our atmosphere fly out there. Way, way, way out there. So technically, yes, the moon is a little bit inside of our atmosphere. That doesn't mean it's small. That doesn't mean it's local. That doesn't mean it's a projection. And if it is a physical object floating around inside this glass dome you think exists, why doesn't it get bigger as the night gets further on? I don't know if you've ever looked into the sky and seen planes flying overhead, but when they're far away, they're very, very small. When they get overhead, they get very, very big by comparison. And then when they fly away, what happens? They get very, very small again. That doesn't happen with the sun. That doesn't happen with the moon. It's probably why you're going with this projected thing onto the glass dome, because you know that the angular size of things get bigger the closer they get. And that doesn't work because that doesn't align with reality.
And another thing that you can notice at nighttime, when you focus in on the moon, all the stars will be focused too. They all focus at the same exact distance. And so that just means that, basically what they do in a planetarium, don't they have like a domed ceiling, and they project the stars onto that dome? That really is what it is. We have this like visible shell a hemisphere around us, and things in the sky are projected onto that. And what proves it here is we don't see a dark thing. This is just a projected image. That's why we don't see the shaded part of the moon. It just disappears. It's because the moon object is not here. What we're seeing is some sort of optical projection of an object that's inside the firmament.
That just means you've never looked at the sky with a telescope. If you focus in on the moon and then focus in on the Andromeda Galaxy or the Orion Nebula, you have to refocus your lens. We don't see the dark side of the moon because the moon doesn't give off its own light. It reflects light. And if it's not reflecting light, it's not sending light to your eyeballs. So the atmosphere makes it look blue. What grade are you in? Have you ever had a science class?
So if you have a pastor that loves to talk about NASA or outer space, dinosaurs, they can't even read the first page of their Bible. I don't take anybody seriously if they don't at least want to investigate this stuff. And then
The first page of your Bible was written by people who had zero knowledge of how the earth works or how it was created, obviously. And personally, I don't take anybody seriously if they've read that page and then say, yeah, that's literally how it happened.
And if they can't find their way through it, NASA is bad. The stuff out of NASA is bad. I feel really embarrassed that I ever went along with it. Okay, Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Okay, what about that as outer space? And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. There was water, a ton of water. It's not outer space fantasy land. What do pastors say if you bring this up and you're like, well, where's all the water in outer space fantasy land? And God said, let there be a light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. This, I just want to show that light existed before the sun existed. And that's, I guess, another thing that you could call an optical property of the firmament. What daylight is, it's the firmament itself is lit up. The sun is a giant spotlight.
Okay, we're going to skip over the fact that you just said that light existed before the sun. But now the firmament is giving off its own light, and then the sun is a spotlight? What sense does that make? Why doesn't the firmament illuminate during the night? What if it's just a big disk with a firmament and the firmament is all lit up? Why is it only lit up on this side? And why wouldn't the people over here see the firmament lit up? Do you see where I'm going with this? Probably not.
And if you read Genesis 1 critically, you'll see that light, so daylight and sunlight are different. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters, because we have waters above and we have waters below. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. They make fun of this in It's Always Sunny. Mac, they always make Christian characters closeted homos. That's what they always do. Very typical. And that Mac says this, and people try to make this seem like it's gibberish and nonsense, but this is true. This is the truth. This is the alleged inventor of the V2 rocket, and they reference the firmament. Psalms chapter 19 verse 1. This is the referenced verse. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork.
What about Genesis 1:8, where it says God called the firmament heaven? Shocking that you left that part out.
That's why rockets look like this, because they can't keep going up because they'll just crash into the firmament. It's just a play for the plebs, and so that they can get off on their duping delight. But look at that. You can't keep going up. You'll hit the firmament. That's why they come back down.
No, it looks like that because it's called a gravity roll, where they're going up and then they turn and then they start going at that angle. It's so they can get into orbit around the Earth.
Okay, going back to rainbows. If you're gonna make a rainbow inside, look at what you need. A mirror. You cannot make a rainbow indoors unless you have a mirror. So how's the rainbow work out there? I believe that the firmament has a semi-reflective property to it. Now I don't think it's like a total mirror, because I think it's probably some sort of see-through or semi-see-through. Create your own rainbow. Place the mirror. You need a mirror. If you need a mirror to make a rainbow inside, what about natural rainbows outside? Oh, you're asking too many questions.
God, you're stupid. Remember what I said earlier about rainbows being a cone coming from your eye, whereas the sun is the very far point? The mirror reflects light back up to your eye to create the cone.
This is my idea. What's probably going on? Well, I don't know. It's probably some sort of semi-reflective, semi-transparent thing. And we didn't have rainbows before the flood either, so...
There were no rainbows before the flood? Okay. What flood are you talking about? You're talking about that one that was like 4000 BC that wiped out everything except for the people in China or India or Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley or the Egyptians? Because all those people were alive and well during that time. So apparently there wasn't a worldwide flood. Or at least nobody told them about it. Okay, that's about it for that. He goes on for another 5 or 6 minutes, and it's dumber than the rest, which is pretty hard to imagine if you can. So anyway, so this has been interesting. It's a different workflow. I kind of like it, but I'll get used to it, I'm sure. And I hope that you all get used to looking at my ugly mug. So if you like my content and you'd like to see more of it, give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe, and make sure to come back next time. And until then, have a good day.